In spite of being suffered by 1 in every 68 people, there are still a lot of misconceptions about this disability called autism. That's why we went to Autismo Arena, Asociación Regiomontana de Niños Autistas. Our main purpose was to prove this thought is wrong, and for that, we went and asked some questions to the volunteers that work with the kids. This activity was awesome because we learned so much about the disability called autism and about autistic kids and how.
One common characteristic that many autistic people have is that they have communication problems in the use and understanding of the language. They communicate in a different way most of us do, having a lot of trouble making eye contact or reading facial expressions, for example. That is why they have difficulty relating to another people, and as a consequence, they don't have a lot of friends or they can interact with another person. There is no physical difference between an average person or an autistic person, but many autism have seizures, make involuntary movements, or say repetitive phrases. It's a lifelong disorder that many children have, but a lot of them can grow up to be an independent adult. It appears at the first 3 years of life with unique symptoms. There is no medical test for autism as it is diagnosed by observing the child's behavior. The real causes of autism are still unknown. Thought it is known that genes contribute to its apparitions, and there is a current investigation that suggests that vaccines might too.
The experience that we have during the event was amazing, and it was because we have the opportunity to change the way people think about autistic people. And it was because after they use our device, the opinion they had about autistic people changed in a better way. Some of the comments that they said were that while they were using our device, they feel frustrated and stressed, and it was because they had a lot of information and they could not concentrate in just one sound. Another person made a comment and he was asking about how can we, us people, help the organization to help the autistic people. And in that point, the way that we can help is by going to the events they organize and making donations.
About the organization we visited, Autismo Arena is an organization in Monterrey that its main purpose is to help including autistic people in the familiar and social way. The organization started about 1979 and it has helped more than 700 families. To make people understand what autistic people feel, we made a device that it was a video that it has a lot of sounds in it. So we make the people try it. So they put headphones on and we start the video. So we said to the audience to be focused on the video and what we were saying, and we started to talk about some things about what we did yesterday. And the point of this was that the person who has the earphones doesn't understand what is happening because all the noise and all the other sounds of outside the video, you cannot focus on something. And that's how we prove the point that autistic people cannot focus on something because their brains doesn't work like ours. So if you put an autistic kid in a room with only a screen and you put them to watch a movie and the window is making noise and someone closes the door and someone goes clapping about the street, they're going to be more focused on that things than on the movie because that is how their brain works. And that's how we prove that we have to be equal to autistic people.
In conclusion, we learned more than what we expected to learn. When we began researching, we didn't know anything about autism, but that it was something that affected the behavior of the people who suffer it. After the research was done, we did know more about the symptoms and characteristics, but there was something left. And that is when the visit to the organization came to give us the last piece of this puzzle. We not only learned about the disability, but we felt it. And it's not exactly a disability, but it's more like a way of thinking and living. We got to first hand see how they live. We got to see their classrooms, their school supplies, their toys, and it was something that made us be conscious about the reality. And all of what we learned was shown in the event with satisfactory results.